Parshas Vayakel, we have, starting with the tzivui of Shabbos. Chazal teach us that although we have to build the Mishkan, the Beis Hamikdash, but it's not doiche Shabbos, doesn't push off Shabbos. Even though in Shavuos Bamikdash, a lot of things are permitted in Mikdash. We slaughter on Shabbos animals. We bring korban osima. We have fire on the altar on Shabbos. The Torah says, "Lo sevaru esh b'chol mashotechem." Don't have fire b'yom Shabbos. So it's only in as not doiche to teach us that building the Mishkan is not doiche Shabbos, but the Mishkan itself is doiche Shabbos. In the temple itself, Shabbos is being broken for Kohanim, as we mentioned, the Korbanot, Shechita, and the rest, fire, and all the other things. One of the things that when the state of Israel was built, there was a big debate. How can we have a state, a Jewish state, and keep Shabbat? We have to have a ministry, a foreign ministry. You have to have an army, police, hospitals. How can we keep Shabbat? And how can you rely on Goyim? There is the resolution of Goyim, a solution of Goyim is not good always. So let's say you have a country security. You can't have non-Jews like Arabs come. You cannot rely or put the whole country on a person which is not Jewish to rely on the security of the country on someone who's not Jewish. Police, army, hospitals. In Beis Hamikdash, which is a house of Hashem, Shabbos was permitted. Why Shabbos was permitted in Beis Hamikdash? The Rambam brings an example. When you have somebody that is sick, lo aleinu, and you have to cut off his feet, otherwise the poison, otherwise the disease spreads to the whole body. So cutting the leg, it's a help for the rest of the body. The Beis Hamikdash, it's a place where the Jewish people need the healing. So therefore, functioning the Beis Hamikdash is a need for Klal Yisrael to present the relation with Hashem, and therefore, for the sake of the benefit of all Klal Yisrael, there's no Shabbos in Beis Hamikdash. So there was a professor, non-religious professor. I forget what was his name, Leibovich or Dan Ben Amotz, I forgot his name, whatever it was. I saw his ma'amar, and I saw a rabbi writing against it. But he was saying, let's use the same logic. And when we have a state, have an army, police, it should be like a Beis Hamikdash. And all the Rabbonim went against it. He says, you're right. You cannot have always the solution of Goy Shel Shabbos. And we had in Golus and exile. But there's other solutions. There's Grome Be'avoro. There is a cycle of electricity that's always there. You just increase or decrease the cycle. You're not building, you're not doing anything. There's other tricks. and they started to build machonim, machon halacha for Shabbos, machon tzomet, and this and that. And we have today, if you go to hospitals today, they write down, right is not more than 24 hours. They have their different writings, Gomez, and they have different ways how, in the place of a need, you're allowed to do those things. We see the Rambam says you have a city. If the city is in Sfar means in the edge of the country, next to the border city. So you're allowed to go out to war, even al iskei kash v'teven. What does that mean? Even if the goyim come at night and steal hay, wheat, which is only money, you're allowed to go to war against him, open the war against him, and be the initiator and break the Shabbos, mechalel the Shabbos. You have to mechalel Shabbos for the sake of security. Again, what do we have? You have here a city which is a border city. Now the goyim come at night and steal sheep, cows, hay, grain, whatever they do. You're allowed to go out and to make a war on Shabbos, mechalel Shabbos, because what? Because since the city is a border city, so when you have goyim start with us, even which is a monetary problem, but it can lead to danger of conquering the whole land. So even the stealing of money, which normally money is, you know, mechalel Shabbos for money, problems of money. But here, the problem of money, since it's a border city, it can lead to a danger of life. So therefore, you're allowed to mechalel Shabbos and open a war on Shabbos, mechalel Shabbos, even al iskei kash v'teven. So from here, they learned the big yesoid that you're allowed to have policemen walking around. If you don't have police on Shabbos, what happens? You will stop and kill each other. No enforcement of law. People come like animals. You have to have the army. So you have to mechalel Shabbos. In the problem of money, because it leads to danger of life. So on the basis of that, Arav Eliashiv, Arav Wallenberg, Arav Zolti appointed by the government to build a whole system, a electric system. How can the army, police, foreign ministry, hospitals can run on Shabbos, and many other problems. Cameras, whatever the story is. And they found the solutions. Baruch Hashem. So even let's say you have a water plant that cleans water through reverse osmosis. You need Jewish workers. You can't have non-Jewish workers. The whole water of the country, or electricity, or security cannot be ongoing. It's to be Jews. How do you do it with Jews? In what way? What halachic way we find a way to permit it? So there's all the same yesoid. On Shabbos, the Torah is oiser meleches machsheves, malach of thoughts. Yeah, malach without a thought is not the same issue. So the Torah says, building Beis Hamikdash, building the Mishkan, it doesn't push away Shabbos. But once the Mishkan is operating, out of it, Shabbos, that's the way we operate on Shabbos. We slaughter the animals, we have fire on the altar, and we burn the korbanos. The Kohanim have rules. There's no Shavuos in Mikdash. There's no resting in the Mikdash, Beis Hamikdash. What about the rest of the Jewish nation? They have to. They have a war. It's a different story. There's rules. So everything is with rules and regulations, not breaking the rules. And this big professor, probably, this professor wanted to say, no, that the Jewish religion is outdated, Earth Ismail. And it cannot fit itself to the modern era. He was wrong. As the halacha does relate to it, and there's ways how to solve it and do it. You can run a Jewish state, Jewish hospitals on Shabbos, army, police, all with the rules of Shabbos. Until today, the army has these yeshiva. They sit right next to the kotel in Yitzchok. It's called basically what's called. It's a shul Yitzchok, something Beis Yitzchok, whatever it's called, next to the kotel. You know, when you go towards the Arabs in the tunnel there on the right side. No, before Shulman. Anyhow, there's a yeshiva there of the Rabbanut Harashit, and that's what they do all day long. They learn the halachas of how the army needs to relate on Shabbos, in Isurim, Pikuach Nefesh, captives. What are you allowed to say? Rules. You have to give rules as a Jewish army. How do we relate according to the Torah? What's the right way to relate and to do? There's rules we can learn. But that's the whole point of the Torah. So it's not like the Reform thought that we have to reform the Torah. Others says we have to. The Torah's just got is outdated. The Torah is not outdated. The Torah told us exactly what to do and when to do. What's the right way to do? This is what we learn. This is what the Torah is teaching us. To build the Mishkan, don't bring the Shabbos. Once you have the Mishkan, you have fire because that's the need of Klal Yisrael. Same thing is here. They have to keep Shabbos. But when you have security, you have police, there's rules. A woman needs to give birth. So you have an ambulance. Can the woman that takes the ambulance go drive back home? Yes. Maybe another woman will do it. There's rules and relations. When you have the Mechabesh, it's brought down a lot when you do the Mechal Shabbos. Talmidei Chachamim should be the ones to Mechal Shabbos. They have to do it quickly with energy, not like you're doubting. You're doubting you can bring danger. So that's why we have to be in the yeshiva. We have to be in the yeshiva to learn, to know when yes, when not. And when you know it's yes, no hesitation. No hesitation. Do it with all the energy. If you hesitate, you can kill people. That's why you need big Talmid Chacham. You learn Torah in the yeshiva many years. The halachas are clear to them. When yes, we're not. Building no. After this, we're basically yes. Going to war against there's rules. But yeah, you're not rich. That you have to know. You have to learn. And what you learn has to be in your mouth clear. Mechudodim beficha. Should be sharp in your tongue. Somebody to ask you, you don't stumble. You don't mumble. It's clear. That's a chiyuv. You have to prepare yourself. When somebody learns in the yeshiva, and this is very important, I'll finish with this. If somebody learns in the yeshiva, he does have in mind that whatever he learns has come to reality and how he's going to act with it. His learning is with a lack, big lack. You're not here to learn. Okay, some people learn not to run around the streets, not to have yetzerora. That's side games, not the main. We're here to learn to do. Attack. So sometimes I'm not learning to know. I'm learning about the woman with milveh. What does it do with me? I want to know. Shabbos. Yes. We teach you how to learn. Teach you the depths of learning. Take itself is even if you learn kochim, it's not lemaise. I mean, will build soon. There's different things that we do. But lemaise, you have to learn. When you learn, you have to think in your mind how this will make me a better Jew. How I'm going to be a leader and use the information to decide. That's how I used to do when I used to learn Mishnah Berurah. I used to think, oh, this case will happen. I don't know what to say. I imagine in my mind, case, when I learn Mishnah Berurah, Choshen Mishpot, I learn Venez, whatever I learn, I imagine those cases. And then I say, if this case will happen, I will say this way, as you have to imagine you in those cases. Means when learning Torah, it has to be real. You have to be known when yes, when no, that Hashem demands it. And boys in the yeshiva, when they're in the yeshiva, is an illusion of imagination. It's real. So you have to learn how to apply it to reality. Some of it is just learning tools. When you learn Gemara Biyun, and afterwards you learn halacha, you're able to know, you know how to make decisions. Because you've been trained in the yeshiva, learning Sukkah Biyun. That's also Even though what I'm learning now is not Lamaisa, because it's one time I get married, it's not too common, but still, they're teaching me the tools and the ways how to learn. And that when I do learn, when I really see, I know how to learn, I know how to make the proper decision, value decision. Be trained many years. That's what Yeshiva is doing. She was giving you the vessels to train you how to make decisions in Torah, how to medam milsa and milsa to compare one case another case when it's doime and not doime, chilukim. Those vessels you cannot acquire nowhere else. Only Yeshiva. You hear this, Yisrael? Your name is Yisrael, right? Yosef. You hear this, Yosef? Nobody can acquire those vessels to you. Can be a balabait, have a chavrusa. It's not the same. Yeshiva, you learn a sugya being with all the details. Rabbis that teach you sugya after sugya. They teach you how to build a concept and find the truth in the sugya and make decisions. And apply it to reality. This is something you only can get in Yeshiva. Yes. Sure. Badai. Like there's qualities between rabbis, yes. There's more learned rabbis. There's more rabbis which are perfect the character more. So when they learn Torah, it's much more pure. It's levels, kedusha. How holy is the person who learns Torah? What is his thought? There's levels. There's levels. But don't look on the rabbis. Look, where are you? Where are you? What are you doing? Are you growing? What are you doing? Are you learning? Or just running around and learning here, learning there? You're really starting something, finishing something, grasping, understanding it, coming out with your hands. Now, the yeshiva made this thing of reviewing 4 times. We cut it down to 2.5 daf. Ragab Shleimer? Who was doing it? One. Yosef, you do it? Aaron, you do it? Daniel, you doing it? We cut it to 2.5 dafs. Because Kiddushin is harder. And plus you get 200 shekels, which is not good for you. You have to learn. Review 4 times. Want people to do it and come out at the end of the year. The whole Masechet Kiddushin year. It's possible. Yeah, one a day. It's not a big deal, 4 times. You have it, you'll find yourself in 15, 16 weeks from now. 15 weeks from now, you did 45, 50 pages of the Masechet. If you did before already, you finished the whole Masechet. Of the whole Masechet in your hands. You come out with something in your hands, you review, you remember, or maybe be a different person. You prepare yourself to become a Talmid Chacham. You hear this? Jonathan, you doing it? Reviewing 4 times. Okay, that's good. 4 times? There has to be b'diuk. Minimum 4 times. B'diuk can be more. The more can be not b'diuk. The minimum 4 times have to be b'diuk. And not only that, if you're not going to do it, you're going to find yourself in 10 years in yeshiva that you know nothing. Here, you know a little bit here, like Kash v'Gavava. When you review something, you know the whole Masechta. You remember it's in your hands. It's like the Gemara says, Alomed v'nochoi is the one who learns, doesn't review. Kezoreh v'lo, a person sees and he doesn't harvest. It's one of the things I want to push in yeshiva very strong. People have to learn the whole Masechta and know and review it. A student in the Ashby yeshiva that doesn't review his learning, to me, is not a student in the Ashby yeshiva. A student doesn't learn Iyun is also not a student. It's not enough. You have to review. 4 times minimum. Here's Daniel. Used to do it. Used to win prizes every week. You have to make a comeback, no? A comeback. Get into it. Aaron, you're doing it, right? Yosef? Good. What do you mean? 4 times. Yes.
I have no question. I love to study, but I love to practice what I'm studying. Because
Right.
if I study around,
But in order for you to practice, you need to first to be trained.
yeah, training.
So the yeshiva is training you how to read, how to comprehend. That's all. Then you learn also halacha.
we are in the Shabbos, all the Melachot of Shabbos. I love to put it in practice.
Okay, so Bezat Hashem, you learn, you practice.
I'm not allowed to take it out.
Yeah, that's what yes, your Rebbe, Rebbe teaches you learn halacha l'maisa. Yes, that's what you do. But there's a lot of parts in Nishi. Right, there's a lot of parts. But the key is to review and grasp. Anyhow.